Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share insight into my final assignment discussing a current work project, the merger of MB Financial and Fifth Third Bank in the Chicago market. A couple of key points before we get started. The information I'm sharing is public knowledge and can be found in various articles as well as on MB and Fifth Third's websites and is accessible to the general public. I want to be clear on that point, given we are awaiting regulatory approval, and as an employee must be mindful of antitrust rules and guidelines. So let's get started. The current state and merger details. In May of this year, Fifth Third announced its intention to merge with MB Financial, a prominent bank in the Chicago market. This deal is estimated to be valued at $4.7 billion. 90% of that 4.7 will be paid via stock, with the remaining 10% in cash. I also wanted to share with you the size of each of these organizations as they are today. Currently, Fifth Third holds $142 billion in assets, while MB holds $20 billion in assets. This is important as we think about the size of the organization in the Chicago market post-merger. Once the merger is complete, it is anticipated that Fifth Third will hold 6.5% of the market share in Chicago, and they'll rank fourth in total deposits, second in retail deposits amongst the 200 banks in that market. And they'll be second in commercial or middle market with 20% market share. According to American Banker, this is the biggest bank acquisition that we've seen in the past 3 years. MB and Fifth Third Bank each have a strong history of M&A activity, and so they're not strangers to what's required of M&A. However, MB has more recent experience. MB has a proclaimed method for successful integration, and that is what they consider to be, quote unquote, best of blend. Based upon this, it was agreed early on Fifth Third would adopt the best of blend methodology for the purpose of this acquisition as well. As with all mergers and acquisitions, there are many decisions that are made during the purchase negotiation. Obviously, I don't have detail into these conversations, but can share the outcome, again, with limited insight into the road traveled or conversations that were had to get there. A few of the key decisions impacting the team, specifically those that I support, was one, naming of the CEO post-merger, as well as line of business structures. MB's current president and CEO will assume the responsibility of Fifth Third Chicago CEO and president position, again, post-merger. And secondly, the line of business structures have been determined, and they do deviate from the structure across the Fifth Third footprint today. This is the most significant decision, given it does have a strong impact to business banking, and aligning that line of business with the retail line of business, which again is different and does deviate from where we are today. For the purpose of this assignment, my focus is on the business banking space in the areas of customer segmentation, line of business structure, and talent assessment to complete employee alignment. Given there are varying processes, procedures, and structures, as well as corporate culture, each of these areas have produced a fair share of conflict, resulting in the need to negotiate approaches and solutions. To be fair, I'm the HR representative for Fifth Third Business Banking, supporting our senior leader, so my insights and observations are through the lens of Fifth Third, with exposure to MB leadership in formal and structured meetings. Once we gain regulatory approval, my involvement will increase and my exposure to the MB leadership team will be more frequent. Once the announcement occurred in May, each line of business was provided instruction on how we should move forward. Understanding our starting point or foundation has been built upon the non-negotiable decisions previously discussed. Over the course of the past 5 months, I've been working with the leaders supporting each organization and working through the various areas that need to be addressed for a successful integration, such as customer segmentation and integration, loan processing, account opening, etc. It is within this framework that I have and will continue to analyze the following topics or areas as it relates to conflict management and negotiation. Specifically, personality and behaviors, looking at these key positions and leaders within Fifth Third Bank and MB, and how would you determine their locus of control, self-monitoring, are they a type A or B personality, and therefore are they competitive by nature? What is the need for achievement, power and affiliation, as well as styles for negotiation? We'll also be looking at the communication aspects, watching, as well as body language. And then there's a lot of electronic communication. So what does that look like amongst this integration? We'll be taking a look at effectiveness in managing conflict. So what is their view? Is it traditional? Is it human relations, school of thought, etc.? And then we'll also be taking a look at the leadership of each of these individuals, or again, the leadership of these teams, both on the Fifth Third side as well as MB, and looking at their negotiating temperaments, their goals, and what should be accomplished, considering the perception of others' use of personal power. And then we'll be looking at the ethics component, and then again, peacemaking and responses, in applying the 4G application. And then utilization of the negotiation process and preparedness, and what's their strategy, style, and tactics. I want to thank you for the time to share the insights in the overview and outline for my final assignment, final product, and I appreciate and welcome your feedback.